Hello and welcome to Transformation Now. Hi, I'm Rita Rocker, speaker, author, trainer with SoaringHigher.rocks, and very pleased to be with you again today. And the first program, which is very near and dear to my heart, is from my new book called Miracle in Your Mirror, Pursuing Your Passion at Any Age. And you know, when I've been working on that and writing it, my original purpose was to mainly have it for people, mostly women, like over 45 years old, and sometimes over 50. We kind of give up our hopes and our dreams and our goals thinking, well, too much of life has passed by. But as I'm talking to a teacher about maybe doing some gender roles and some things for a high school and possibly with Omaha Public Schools, it's kind of like I was thinking yesterday, well, you know, starting at any age doesn't necessarily have to mean this book is for just mature people, but it's also an encouragement for younger people that they're not too young to start their hopes, their dreams, their plans, their purpose, and to focus on it at a younger age instead of letting so many years go by. And so really that's what it all is, pursuing our passion at any age, whether we're young or we're what we think is too old, because that's not true either. So I'm going to be talking first about mindsets, because our mindsets rule us. They have total control over what we do in life, who we're with, where we go, a lot with finances quite often, everything. So mindsets are extremely important because that's what leads us. And so this is called From Alarming to Astounding, because I know a lot of people right now are depressed, they're lonely, they feel like failures. You know, like there's alarm bells going off. I'm too old, I'm too late, I don't have any money, you know, I might be going to be ending up homeless pretty soon. There's a lot of things going on right now with a lot of people. And so this is trying to turn that around and to really be having an astounding life, and no matter what age, you know, whether I've worked with people from the ages of 7 to 92. So, you know, anything goes. Right? So, you know, change can be daunting. Change can be very frightening a lot of times. And many people will stay in the situations or the state that they are accustomed to instead of yielding. And you do have to yield. You have to let go of what's going on and really yield to something new, face it, go forward that way, to the process of change. Change is a process. Very rarely would it just happen instantly overnight. It is a process that we have to work at, but it's certainly worth it to do that. So that process of change is to make different, to alter or modify something in our life, people, places, or things, and you know, to do that and then replace it with something new or even better. So even if we have loss, you know, we will never go back to that same normal, but we can create a new normal and go forward. And I've seen that so many lives, so many testimonies, really all over the world that that's happened. And so becoming different, you know, again, with people, places, things, with behaviors, with thoughts, with what we do every day, and how we talk to ourselves as well as other people. Those are the things for change. And so we want to soar, but so many of us, including myself, have been afraid to get off the ground and soar. I saw a post yesterday, and it showed what looked like a little shark in a little fishbowl. And it said a shark will only grow to 8 inches if it remains in a fishbowl. But if you put that same shark in the ocean, it can grow to 8 feet. Okay, from 8 inches to 8 feet. This has been scientifically proven. And so that is a good sign. It's a good message for us that once we get out of a confining space that we may be in, out of fear or different situations or experiences, how much we can grow. I mean, 8 inches to 8 feet, but that was proven to be true. So a lot of times it's what is confining us that's keeping us all small and confined instead of really getting out there and growing, using our skills and abilities and everything we have to make a difference in our lives, in our families' lives, in the world in general. So think about that. I think that was a really good message, but we're afraid. And so we hang on to the vine of What makes us feel secure? We may not even feel secure actually if it's a terrible situation to be in, but it's familiar. Even though it might be restricting, it's familiar. And so we're afraid to step out of that unfamiliar territory instead of pushing out and flying up where we belong. And so, when we allow God, and we have to allow God, we have to ask Him, He will lovingly pick up all the pieces and put them back together in a newly created form. You think of a kaleidoscope. What is that? It's in a tube, and it's a bunch of broken, chipped pieces of all different colors. But as you turn the kaleidoscope, which means turning our lives lots of times in the mind and the situations we're in, they're beautiful pictures. And yet turn it again, and you create an entirely new design. And so we can do that in our lives too, even if we feel broken and if we feel shattered. And I love the picture that shows a bunch of broken crayons, and yet it has some colors scribbled around it. And it says, even broken crayons still create. They still color. And I have seen so many testimonies and so many people, like the lady I've mentioned before that had an accident, so her right arm was cut off clear up here where she didn't even have a shoulder left for a prosthetic device. And yet she could have said, oh, my heart is broken. I will never be able to play my beloved violin again because I don't have a shoulder, let alone an arm. But after the apparatus, and she's jerking her shoulder like this and playing the most beautiful tunes. Or the young lady who thought, well, gee, I can't have a child. I can't drive a car. I don't have any arms. And yet I saw her driving a car with her toes. She must have done pretty well because she got her license, and changing her baby's diapers with her toes. People playing guitars with their toes. I saw something the other day of an auto mechanic, no legs. I mean, not even stumps, no legs. And this guy's in a wheelchair, and he's pulling a great big huge tire, and he's able to put it on his lap and go over to the truck that he was working on and hoist that in there. And I think, my gosh, half this guy's body is missing. And yet he's working as an auto mechanic in a garage. It's just astounding. And I thought, oh my gosh, I should never complain or think, oh, poor me, about things in life, because I look at all these people and they are doing things that are incredible. I've seen so many builders in other countries too that are building, creating all kinds of things that have no arms. And they'll have something tied around their neck so they can pull things along. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's the mindset. What are we willing to do and believe in? So think about that. So God can put all those pieces back together. So get started. That's the main thing. We have to get started. Out of fear, so many times we are afraid to get started, so we procrastinate. I've done that a lot in my life, and just, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it later today. That could even be an exercise program, whatever. But it's like, no, okay, I'll do it a little bit later, and then pretty soon the day's gone, and the next day is gone, and it's like, oh my gosh, I was going to do this a week ago, and I still don't have it finished. And so think about that. And sometimes we just have to give ourselves a big boot. And one thing I've shared before about the eagle and the eaglets is when the mother eagle is ready to have any eaglets, she puts all the sticks together into a big nest, and then she puts lots of feathers and soft things in there for the little baby eaglets. But when it's time for the eaglets to get going and take off and fly, and maybe they'll want to because they're so comfortable in that nest, Mama starts taking out all the comfy stuff until all that's left is sticks. It's like, ooh, I can't stand this anymore. And so then it's like, okay, I need to get my buns out of here. And so then the mama kind of pushes them out, and they've never flown before, but she's underneath to catch them and teach them how to fly, and then they take off. And so sometimes we have to do the same thing, get rid of the comfortable things. I hardly ever watch regular TV programs anymore because I'm trying to still learn. A lot of it's inspirational, a lot of educational programs, things like that that will help me actually grow. And so a lot of times it's just, okay, let's switch the channel, whether it's on the TV, the laptop, your computer, your phone, I've got to switch. Or I have to switch the channel on who I'm hanging around with, all kinds of things. But we have the flipper to switch the channel on our lives to do something that would be a lot more productive and get us to that place where we truly want to go. So think about that. And, a process, it's a process to change our lives. It's a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve the thing that we want. And so think about that. It's performing, and yes, it's performing a series of operations in order to change something in our lives or to preserve something. Maybe we're getting ready to, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to lose my job because I haven't learned these certain skills that now they're requiring because of new technology, for instance. I've heard of that happening. One guy, he'd been in the industrial area. He'd been there, it was over 25 years. An excellent, excellent worker. But he was having a hard time not wanting to grasp the new technology that was put into the machinery. He lost his job because he didn't keep up with it and was too uncomfortable to keep up with it. So, in that case, he needed to preserve his job. We may need to preserve a good relationship, although boot out a bad relationship and change things. So, what are we looking for? Peace, favor, healing, or learning resolution skills and how to resolve some of the things that might be going on in our lives that are involving other people. And so, we can't just let go. I have it's kind of a friend, but, people just describe her as mean anymore because no matter where she goes, she's angry and she's criticizing everybody till nobody wants to be around her anymore. And, I'm going to have a talk with her one of these days soon, even though that's going to be uncomfortable, to help her resolve those issues instead of pushing everybody away out of just the anger of what happened in her own life, which really wasn't that bad compared to a lot of people, including me. But so, I know all too well how what can happen when life kicks us hard. Okay, possibly beginning at a younger age, maybe not, but a lot of times it does. And our mindset, which is I call it our emotional storage unit, our mindset, okay, emotional storage unit, because it holds all those emotions in us and steered my life in a very defeated direction. So experiences are our current reality. So everything that we've experienced up through our lives until now is our current reality. That's what we see. That's what we've experienced. That's what we've felt. That's what we've known and have been familiar with. But it should never, ever be allowed to set the tone for who we are, for sure, our value and our worth. And as I meet people, especially women, but anybody, if they've gone through a lot and they've gone through a lot of rejection and pain, a lot of times it's like, well, I'm not worthy. I'm not worth being able to have a good relationship or this awesome job over here or a better home to live in. I'm not worthy. Yes, we are all worthy. We're God's kids. We're made in his image. How much more worthy could we be? And a lot of times I just have to have a strong talk to myself. When I have these negative thoughts and painful things start going through my mind, and I've literally had to say sometimes, just shut up, to those thoughts, and then try to flip them right away into just the opposite. And so, moving forward, because as we flip the thoughts and we change them into something opposite and something positive, there comes a time, seriously, when we don't even think about that negative anymore. We are so used to programming our mind for what's positive, what's good, what we want to happen in our lives, that energy doesn't even attract those kind of people or those kind of situations anymore because we're so focused. I heard somebody say a few weeks ago, where the focus goes, the energy flows, and that is so true. And so where's our energy going? Because the energy is out there and it will collect, it will gather whatever it is we're giving out. And how we treat people, how we treat ourselves, all of those things. So experiences are our current reality, although they should never be anything more than a blip on this radar screen, just a blip on the radar screen. They happen, okay, I'm going on. I don't have to stay in there. But sometimes it seems like even though they don't have a right to dictate the rest of our lives and our worthiness, sometimes they have dictated people's lives because of that experience. I'm a failure. I was always told that. I can't do anything right. So why bother? I say that a lot, and I'm talking to so many people that have really been suffering with a feeling of unworthiness and not being able to compete with other people. And that's just not right. Every experience is, like I said, a blip on the radar. Go. Doesn't have to stay there. Doesn't have to pollute the rest of your life. So those experiences are planted seeds of worthlessness, okay? They are planted seeds of worthlessness deep inside. And so, they can plant rejection, fear of rejection, failure, abandonment, fear of loss, fear of losing somebody or something, and to the point where we just get paralyzed and we can't move out there. We can't be that shark. We're stuck in that fishbowl when actually we could move out into the ocean of life, the experiences. And so, one of the things that I've been working on lately is I don't want the same old, same old. And so I'm trying to, you can pray for new friends, you can pray for new people and experiences and start experiencing new things, experiencing new places. And so last night there's a place called Bohemian Garden, and it's a kind of old downtown area south. And it was like, oh my gosh, it was a beautiful place and just gorgeous inside. And I was with some ladies where we had great conversation. The owners came over, they talked to us for a long time, and I thought, this is awesome, because it was all new people, it was all new experiences, and it was just a blessing. So, try to reach out, pray for new things, new people, new experiences, because they are there and they can really impact your life very powerfully. So think about that. 3 clinging fears: fear of failure and rejection and abandonment, caused me to sabotage just about everything I did for a lot of my life. But, what do? They breed trauma, they breed apprehension, doubt, failure, and those don't belong in your life. They don't belong in anybody's life. And so who is responsible for doing the brain jutsu, the flipping of the thoughts and behaviors in your life? You are. I am. And so when we finally get to that point, like I thought, I can't blame anybody else for things that have happened in my life. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of awful things that happened to me, but I still had the choice in not allowing certain people, certain things to happen. And so think about that. What are we allowing? How do we allow people to treat us? Really, if you stop and think about that word, allow, or how do we choose what's happening to us? Think about it, because it's pretty amazing. And it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I guess I could have gotten away from that instead of allowing it to continue. And so a lot of that is mindset up here. So the thoughts we entertain, for sure, the words we speak, and the things that we write, especially nowadays with texts and social media all over the place. People spend hours a day doing that kind of thing, have much to do with how we handle the daily environment that we live in. I've seen, very unfortunately, especially with young people, maybe somebody didn't like someone, and so they started blasting all this stuff on social media about them, and badmouth them. Well, we say that a lot in the government too, but where the person couldn't take it anymore and committed suicide. That's happened a lot. Why? Because of some evil words, some things that were done that just overflowed in this person's life and heart and mind until they couldn't take it anymore. So as technology continues, and the way things are in the world right now with anger and sabotaging people, we have to be very strong and very brave about saying, no, this doesn't apply to me. It is not who I am. I'm shutting this off. And so think about that in daily life, especially, again, with the texts and the social media. What are we speaking out? A lot of times we're going to have to combat the ugly with love, with positivity. That can knock somebody down more than anything, because fire fights fire. And if we spew out fire in our defense or maybe offense, what do we get back? More fire, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So who's going to stop it? A lot of times we have to. We have to stop it and not let it go on and destroy the rest of our lives. But I've thought a lot about fire fights fire lately and thought, nope, not going there. Not going there anymore. I'm going to go the opposite direction and let it go. So our belief system, what are we believing? Our belief system, which means accepting that something is true or something exists, or trusting that this thing we're believing in is actual. Faith or confidence in something like that. So it's our belief system. What are we believing? Either it helps us remove hindrances or prepares our wings for flight, because we've removed those hindrances, said, no, I'm not going to believe that. No, I'm not going to sit on the couch all night and eat donuts and stuff and watch TV all night. No, I'm removing those hindrances that have kept me down as a little shark in the fishbowl. And I'm going to do everything I can to take flight because it's out there and I deserve it. Or it can keep us down and defeated, which is happening to a lot of people, which happened to me so much of my life. So we have to be really aware of what we're doing and the situations we have. And so think about that. Our views and opinions of ourselves, which is our self-perception, is our reality. And the immediate world around us creates experiences too. So, if you see yourself in a position where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm living in this dump, I'm driving this old car, that doesn't define at all who you are. And you can take the steps to move forward out of that. And it's not easy most of the time. It is a process, okay, but we can do it. So we devise in our minds and then follow through with our actions, whether we become successful or live with continuous failures, okay? Whether we have uplifting or degrading relationships, that's up to us. A lot of times things aren't really easy and it may take a while, it may take a fight to get out of that, or whether we have a career we enjoy or mainly work to survive. So there's ways out of all of these things. We just have to work with them. I work with, I'm going to be giving a program next month, and it's something I'm donating my time to. And this lady works at some place everybody would know. I'm not going to mention the name of the place, but it has to do with youth. And she also works with domestic violence, and I'm a domestic violence survivor, and this really hit my heart. And she said so many times when there are women that need to get out, they need to be safe, they need to head out the door and not come back, but they have a beloved pet, usually a dog. And I understand that. That pet is their life, and they love them. Their pets are happy to see them. And so they are afraid to leave where they are because of wondering what the abuser will do to the pet, because that can happen. And so what they're doing is they're having a fundraising event. I'm going to be speaking there too, to raise money for a facility that can actually lovingly take in the pets and keep them safe while the lady, usually a lady, it could be a man too, really, gets out, finds safety, finds a home where this person can bring their pet back and know that they're still there. And I thought, wow, that's a new concept. I've never heard of anything like that, but I am very pleased to be a part of this. And so the pets that have been so loving and there for this person can reunite with them again. So that's something that I think is amazing. And we need a lot more of that, helping each other in life. Usually it seems like the people who have been hurt the most are the ones that have the heart to get out there and really help those in need. A lot of times the people that are scraping by financially are the ones that are still willing to give to someone in need, anything that they can possibly squeeze out of their budget, because they know what it feels like. There's a lot of things going on in Hawaii right now, that there's a lot of unjust things that are going on. And so you'll notice that the actual residents, the people that have lived there, are the ones that are going out, giving everything they have to help those in need. And that's where our hearts should be. So when we do that, we also have to work on our career. Is it a career that I love? Is it something I want to do? Do I want to be in music, sports, finances, chef, cooking, whatever the case may be? Or am I just doing a job I don't like because I have to survive? I've been there a lot in my life. And so, take classes, get to know people in the industry that you want to be in, and start learning from them. It's really not as hard as we might think it is. And so when we replace the words that we think, write, and speak, science has proven that we literally change how our brain works and the kind of outcome our thoughts will bring about by our words and our actions. So think about that, because it's been proven and it's really true. That in turn greatly impacts our lives for the better. So it's a way to shift. And I'll just end this program by a quote by somebody I think is fascinating. It says, think of your words as pieces of a puzzle or the colors of paint you would use in creating a beautiful picture, or the type of decorative items you put into your home. Are they colors and items that make you feel good? Yes, it can greatly affect how you feel. And I know that personally, it really can. Or are they black, white, gray, and lifeless, filled with hurt and disappointment? So again, our lives are like colors. What kind of colors are we focusing on? What is in our surroundings around us? And so even in illness or lack, we can say, no, I am not dwelling in this state. I am determined to design in my heart and mind what is good, constructive, and beneficial to the rest of my life. Our Creator designed you with His heart and His mind and His abilities. That is so true. We are created in His image. It doesn't get any better than that. So a lot of times when I've been down on myself and, sometimes, been really hard on myself, and it's like I can almost hear God saying, hey, you asked me to take up residence within you. I have. How can you call yourself? And then it was some bad names I called myself. And it's like, how can you call yourself that? And it really snapped me out of it, and I had tears running down my eyes. I said, I'm so sorry. I know I'm made in your image. I'm not junk. You're not junk. Okay, we are beautiful creations that God has made us. And He will equip you with everything that you need to go forward and to change your life. So just ask Him in. Allow Him to make those changes in your life, get into the process, and move forward, and you can do it. Thank you so much. I will continue on this message with the next program. God bless.